Welcome to Discussing Dad Life, where we break down bullshit so you don't have to. I'm Void, this is No, and let's go.
Welcome to Main Event Mondays.
I was gonna say Wellspring Wednesday.
You gotta speak up.
I was gonna say Wellspring Wednesday on accident.
Oh.
Whoopsie.
No. Okay. Do your promo spot. Who's our sponsor today?
Me.
Who's me? Candle Time by Moo.
Yeah.
If you're interested, we have 4 candles available, 4 scents available. We have peach, coconut, sea breeze, and lakeshore. If you're interested, reach out to us at candletime2022@gmail.com. Now, the nice thing about these is they're all wooden wicks. They're amazing. We have a Facebook profile set up, a Facebook page.
And if you don't know what a wooden wick is, it's this thingy. It's just like a wooden thing that you light.
Yeah. It's got the wooden wick. I know. Peach smells good, yeah. We're still working on the Instagram and TikTok, but if you're interested in getting one, reach out to us, candletime2022@gmail.com. It's going to be linked into the description.
I'm also thinking about making a 4th of July one again.
Yeah, I know you were
Those
talking
ones were
about
pretty
that.
good.
We need to order some more wax, though. We're out of wax.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to get that ordered. I keep saying I need to order it. I needed to order it a week ago, and I forgot.
72 candles?
We made 72 candles.
These
Finished off the last of
72
our
candles.
wax. So we're going to get some more wax, though. Don't worry.
Used up all our wax.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into the news.
Yeah.
So go ahead and swap us over, dude. Okay, so I'm going to use the Daily Wire again today. The first one we're going to cover is remember the 70s oil crisis. Biden's reluctance to restock America's oil reserves should be a massive red flag. This is written by Hayden Daniel. So despite the best efforts of the Biden administration to move toward green alternatives, oil remains a vital commodity to not only the American economy, but also global civilization in general. Easy access to the substance can be a deciding factor between a country's prosperity and its descent into chaos and poverty. On Tuesday, the Biden administration announced that it had canceled plans to refill the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which he actually emptied leading up to 2022 because he was trying to get gas prices down because he abused his office in order to win that or help people in the House win their elections. But, whatever. And he's still not refilling it because if he starts to refill the dang thing, the gas price is going to go back up, which it's already at pretty high levels. So he's citing a rise in a crude oil price of $85 a barrel. The government had previously announced in March that it would solicit up to 3 million barrels for a facility in Louisiana as part of its efforts to resupply the SPR. The Energy Department claimed it would be keeping the taxpayers' interest at the forefront. The agency, we will not award the current solicitations for the Bayou Kota SPR site and solicit available capacity as market conditions allow. We will continue to monitor market dynamics. Scroll down. In an attempt to stimulate skyrocketing gas prices in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Biden administration initiated a 100 million barrel drawdown of the SPR in 2022, decreasing the reserve to its lowest level in decades. Since that drawdown, Biden has slowly purchased more oil, around 32 million barrels, but the reserve is still well below where it was before Biden took office. Like I said, he's not going to restock it because he's afraid of a gas spike in an election year. Plain and simple. That's the easiest breakdown. Easiest way to understand this is Biden would rather sacrifice the national security and our oil reserves on the simple fact that he wants to be able to win in November. So American be damned. He will do everything in his power, even if that means destroying America in order for him to retain power. So, we can switch off of that one because it's pretty good news to know, but it's whatever. So. Next one by Ben Shapiro. Biden panders to the hard left thinking he'll win more votes. Scroll down. You know who those two guys are?
Who?
Those two guys in the picture.
That one, the weird looking one, the one without the glasses is Joe Biden, I think.
Yep.
And then the other one
is Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders actually wasn't a half decent candidate back in 2020, but then the DNC kind of really messed him up, and he turned tail and did the thing. Hey, go turn on that light. You forgot to turn the light on. I just noticed that.
Oh yeah.
You put the battery in but forgot to turn the light on. Thank you. I was wondering why it was semi-dark over here. Yeah. Oh, you're putting a DDL shirt on, hey?
I'm cold. It's cold in here. You know how last time it was hot? Now it's cold.
Fair. So for a very long time in American politics, there was a tourism about running for president in the United States. Truism, not tourism. I apologize. You were supposed to run for the extremes during the primaries, and then you were supposed to run towards the center in the general. That made perfect sense. The idea was to consolidate a base in the primaries to overcome your primary rivals and then run towards the center because that's where the independents were. And the truth is that every American election, the winner was the person who won the independence. The sole exception came in 2012 when Mitt Romney beat Barack Obama with independents, but it didn't matter because enough of Obama's base voted that he was able to win. In every other race, independents have decided the election. That is actually fairly true. Independents are probably the biggest voting bloc that the people need to win in order to win a general. Scroll down.
Scroll down.
Up. Joe Biden is deciding to buck conventional wisdom. He is not running to the center. Instead, he's believing all the political idiots around him that has to run it to the far left. He's believing that Bernie Sanders crowd. He's believing the Pod Save America crowd. He's believing the most extreme members of his own base. I don't necessarily know if I agree with this. I know he's not running towards the center. I don't disagree with that portion, but I think that in the Democrats' mind, where they are on that far left is the center. I think that's what they think. I don't think they realize that that's not true. But, I could very well be wrong on that. There's very little data to support the notion he's going to win if he runs to the extreme parts of his base, and that's why he's currently running far below expectations. The latest NPR Marist poll shows Biden 2 points ahead of former President Donald Trump nationally. The same poll in October 2020 found Biden was winning among independent voters by 21 points, 57 to 36. The current Marist poll shows Trump beating Biden with independent voters by 7 points, 52 to 45. That is a net 28-point swing towards Trump among independent voters. Well, I think the other thing that is going on is people have seen the last almost 3.5 years of Biden's administration and are not having this economy, are not having what's going on in America. I think they're sick of it. And I know most people don't like Trump, or a lot of independents didn't like Trump, but things were a heck of a lot better under Trump than they were under Biden. So I think that's actually where a lot of this is stemming from.
We're actually learning about government in my second period class.
Nice. You're learning about civics?
Huh?
You're learning civics?
No, we're learning government.
Yeah, civics. Never mind. We'll talk later. It's the same thing.
Yeah, government.
So the real reason Biden is losing is because most Americans perceive the economy to be poor. I just said that, so that's interesting. Most Americans perceive the president to be too old. That's another one. They perceive Biden to be disconnected, and ultimately they believe Biden doesn't have their concerns at heart. All of that's true. Meanwhile, all of Obama's old buddies are suggesting Biden should cut off aid to Israel, that doing so will win him votes. I'm kind of in the camp of cutting off front aid to Israel, not because I think Israel is doing anything wrong. I think they are allowed to defend themselves. But I think where a lot of people, or where I stand on Israel, is I'm sick of foreign interventions. People need to be able to decide for themselves. They are an independent country. We don't need to be supplying them anything unless we have some trade negotiations that we can't back out of. Other than that, let them do what they want to do, and let them do, because they have a right to self-govern themselves, and we don't need to be interfering either. Oh, I can smell that. It smells so good. I know. Yeah, so. But nonetheless, Biden definitely is pandering. He's been pandering. He'll always pander. He's a plagiarist, and he's just incompetent. He's also corrupt as
a plagiarist is where, like, say I wrote this really cool article.
What's that?
So like this article, if someone just like copied all of their work down
and tried to pass it off as their own,
and then tried to pass it off as their own, that would be plagiarism, and you could go to jail for that.
Well, I don't think you can go to. Well, maybe I don't know if you can go to jail per se, but definitely not. Good thing to do. So if I were to copy this and try rewriting it and putting it under my own name, I'd be Ben Shapiro could sue me because this is his work and I'm trying to pass it off as my own. I'm not trying to pass it off as my own. I'm giving him credit. So,
Yeah, no one better pass candle off as their own business. I spent years on this.
you got to speak up.
No one better take candle time and pass it off as their own.
Yeah, no. Okay, let's go ahead and switch over to the next article. We already know Biden's a panderer. Literally anybody else and other long shot candidates still running for president. This is by Daniel Chaitin. Chaitin? I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong. When voters head to the polls in Texas this November, there's a small chance that they will find literally anybody else listed on the ballot underneath President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump. Oh, God. Funny as that may seem to some, the option would not be a fluke. In fact, North Texas man Dustin Eby legally changed his name earlier this year to literally anybody else. So people have an eye-catching alternative. I really want there to be an outlet for folks like me who are just so fed up with this constant power grab between two parties and that has no benefit for the common person. Else said, because his name is literally anyone else. This is awesome. Ellis, a 7th grade math teacher and Army veteran, said that the challenge is a hard but not impossible one. He needs to get more than 113,000 signatures from non-primary voters by May 13th. His other option is to be a write-in candidate. This isn't about me, literally anyone else wrote. God, oh my God.
It's not that funny.
It's hilarious.
It's not that funny.
It is hilarious.
It's not that funny.
Yeah. This isn't about me, literally anybody else, more so as it is an idea. We can do better out of 300 million people for president, he said. Else added he would love to get the debate stage and bring the reality that Biden and Trump are not enough. I'm not disagreeing with anything this guy is saying. Literally anybody else. You are onto something, and I'm absolutely loving what you're doing right now. This is awesome. Although Biden and Trump have virtually locked up the nomination of their respective parties, polling showing most Americans are dissatisfied with their choices for president and grow tired of the two-party system. Yep, I am one of them. I am absolutely sick of it. Biden and the Democrats are just a corrupt party who needs to go away. Republicans are do nothing, and they don't represent American ideals very much. There are some in the Republican Party that I think are doing good. But I'm also not a huge fan of Trump. So, I mean, I understand what this is trying to say. Do you understand what this is trying to say? No. Oh, that smells so good. Quit opening them. You're distracting me with these good smells.
Too bad. They smell good, and I want to smell them.
Oh, they do smell good, guys.
Doesn't smell the best in
They
here.
do smell good. So RFK, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is running as an independent after a break with the Democratic Party, has reportedly notched double-digit support in 2024 surveys. His main challenge at the moment is getting on the ballot in all 50 states, which the Democrats are going to do everything in their power to stop. Do you know what RFK is?
What's FK?
RFK, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Do you know who JFK was? The president that got assassinated? In the motorcade down in Dallas, I think it was.
Oh yeah, Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
I did in my second period, I did a book report on Texas. We were doing our states and capitals, and I had to do a book report on Texas. So that was one of the facts.
Yeah.
It happened in
Well, so RFK, Robert F. Kennedy, is JFK's nephew, I believe. So JFK was the president. He was assassinated.
in Dallas.
There in Dallas. And it's basically, at this point, everyone says it was the CIA. The CIA was upset with the RFK or JFK not doing what they wanted, so the CIA assassinated him. It's a conspiracy theory. There's no fact in that. There's some evidence to suggest that it could be true, but it's not. I'm not saying it is or
Wouldn't they
isn't.
just fire him?
No, because technically the president is their boss, but the deep state runs deep. That's why Donald Trump had such a hard time draining the swamp, because the deep state is ingrained. We have the way our government's supposed to work is we're supposed to have 3 branches of government: the legislature, the judicial, and the executive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the CIA, FBI, all these guys work up underneath the executive, so they're their boss. But what the legislative did is, because they're lazy and don't want to actually do their job and debate things and come up and actually pass laws that are actually mean anything, they created this administration layer. And they basically locked it in where even though they report to the president can't actually get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's lots of issues that we have in our government, and a lot of it stems from the fact that we have this bloated administrative state that really doesn't need to be there. All they do is interfere with Americans' lives versus staying out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll have to have more deep conversations about this because I can tell you're not grasping what I'm saying. It's okay. It's okay. You're still young. We got lots of time to help you learn. Okay?
No, I don't want to talk about it.
So, yeah, nonetheless, RFK is a strong third party this go around. The Libertarian Party, I think, actually is going to have a decent turnout this go around as well. Obviously, they're not going to win. Neither is RFK. RFK might be the upset needed to start actually getting rid of this two-party system. The Libertarian Party just they're as much as they have some really good ideas sometimes, they don't do anything. They can't back it. Whereas RFK actually potentially has the opportunity. Actually, RFK I think is actually going to be running possibly on the Libertarian Party. Interesting. I got to remember reading into that. Scroll down some more. So while other candidates have suspended their campaigns, including former South Carolina Governor and ex-U.S. Ambassador Nikki Haley and Rep. Dean Phillips from Minnesota, there remains in the mix some competitors who seek to disrupt the state of play. One such person is Jason Palmer, who has scored an upset victory last month in American Samoa Democratic nominating contest, handing Biden his first defeat in the 2024 election cycle and collecting a few delegates. Good job, Mr. Palmer.
Who's Palmer?
I don't know who he is. I'm going to have to look him up. Palmer, he's a venture capitalist from Maryland, acknowledges on his website that he is a long shot candidate with a very little chance of winning and stresses that his campaign is more focused on ideas, solutions, and changing the conversation. See, and I'll give you a hats off to that one. I'm getting sick of, people just trying to win and grab the power where, if you're focused on ideas and solutions and changing the conversation, that's actually a really good reason to run, more so than actually grabbing the power sometimes, because it's not about it's about the narrative. Controlling the narrative or changing the narrative is actually a really good power play. So he wants conscious capitalism. Interesting. People who create business for good and invest in businesses for basically socially improving purposes, a people-first talent economy and modernizing government. That's interesting. It almost sounds like he's, in a way, using a very fancy word of saying merit-based.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, from these articles in this 3.5 year presidents, do you think this presidency, I don't know if I said it right,
Yeah.
has been a
fatality
or a
flawless victory? Excellent.
Can't answer the question.
I feel that the administration, our foreign policy, the state of the economy and everything, I don't think the administration is administration anymore. They're more of a regime. They're using the political power in order to persecute and prosecute people that dissent with them. So, in all reality, this current regime is a
fatality.
There you go. Does that answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, yeah. Scroll down some more.
Can I read this paragraph?
Sure. Yet another person.
Yet another person who is still running for the White House has a democracy.
No, as a Democrat.
White House as a Democrat is self-help author Marianne
Williamson.
She suspended her campaign in early February, only to reduce it resurrect a few weeks later after
Winning.
winning 3% in the Michigan primary.
Yep. Go ahead, scroll down some more.
Des Moines. I'm not going to read that. Wilson
Williamson
previously
sought.
sought the presidency in the 2020 election upon unsuspending her campaign. This time around, Williamson said people cannot sit idly by the D.C.
While the DC political
political case
class
sleepwalks this country into disaster. A winning platform, according to Williamson, includes Medicare for all,
tuition-free,
college,
subsidized,
subsidized child care,
repudiating
America's fever,
forever
war machine, a guaranteed living wage, and ending the war on drugs.
Okay, pause.
What?
So, Marianne Williamson, I'm going to scroll up slightly, dude, is her.
Yeah,
If I
kind of figured that out.
She's an interesting candidate. Like I said, I personally like Marianne Williamson, and I do believe she has some decent policies. So her platform calls for Medicare for all. I disagree with that. Medicare for all will bankrupt America. Tuition-free college. Again, disagree with that. College needs to be unsubsidized. We need to stop backing it with the loans, and we need to actually, all we've done is ballooned out these administrations in these colleges.
There are only 2 ways to get into college, right?
No, there's multiple ways to get into college.
The 2 ways I know of is paying to get into college.
Yes.
And on a
Scholarship. Yep.
I want to be a scholarship kid.
And subsidized childcare. So I disagree with these first 3. And those first 3 are big on her platform, which is why I would not vote for her. However, her other 3, I think, are actually decent. Repudiating America's forever war machine, 100% agreed. Guaranteed living wage, I 100% agree with that. We need to actually guarantee a living wage, and the living wage should be 0. We need to stop it. We need to stop having government interfere. And this actually is going to tie into our next and last article, which is the California minimum wage. I have very big issues with this because the government needs to stop doing these things. And then ending the war on drugs. The war on drugs have done nothing but cost the taxpayers money, and we're not making any headway. All we're doing is criminalizing people. Marijuana should not be a federally controlled drug. It's absolutely stupid. So, yeah. But, yeah, let's move on to the California triggers bloodbath by raising minimum wage to $20 an hour. What?
Did you know that at one point in time, alcohol was actually illegal?
Yes, it was called prohibition.
It was called prohibition. I
Yes.
don't know what that's called. Anyway, and that's cool. Flag. I actually colored that flag before.
You lost your train of thought.
In that time, they would still sell beer and alcohol.
Yes.
So what? So that's probably the same what would happen for drugs. So
No, it's already happening with drugs, sis.
drugs are illegal.
Drugs are already illegal. There's
So
been a
it's
war on
already
the drugs since
happening
like the
with drugs,
80s.
And how's that going?
What?
How's that going?
It's not. It's absolutely a waste of time. DEA does a decent job, and I'm not saying that we can't fund the DEA in order to go after like fentanyl, especially with the Biden's open border right now. Fentanyl is a very dangerous drug that is pouring over the southern border and is leading to record levels of overdose deaths in the United States right now. Don't get me wrong. There are some things that we need to be battling, but we need to actually have targeted approaches. DEA actually does a fairly decent job I liked Vivek Ramaswamy's platform on the FBI, getting rid of the FBI, and not just saying, "Oh, you guys are all fired," but moving them into specialized areas like the DEA to actually combat these drugs pouring over our borders. But the war on drugs inside our, is a little bit different of a thing. So anyway, California triggers bloodbath by raising minimum wage to $20 an hour. Scroll down. So this one hits really close to me.
I'm ready to read it.
For several years now, Democrats in the state of California have enjoyed all the perks of one-party rule. While supermajorities in the state assembly, they don't have to deal with the opposition party. They certainly don't need to prove any kind of transparency to the public. They're completely free to enact the Democrat Party's grand vision. Just like the leaders of notorious utopias like Baltimore, Selma, Detroit, or Oakland, if states are the laboratories of democracy, then California is the laboratory of the Democratic Party. Whatever Democrats want, they get.
Okay.
Now you can read.
That's why hundreds of thousands of people flee California every year. Flee?
Yeah, not free. Flee.
Oh, flee California every year, and it's why a lot more people are about to leave the state, California, without much discussion or
Debate.
Just raised its minimum wage for certain fast food workers to $20 an hour. This is 25% wage hike up from $16 an hour. The law applies to change with 60 more locations in California, including
franchises.
Including franchises.
Yes.
Many of which are family owned.
Okay, we're going to pause here.
Okay.
So the problem with all of this minimum wage conversation is it doesn't attack the actual underlying issue. What the Democrats like to say is they need to have a living wage. And the living wage, they think, is if we get more people more money, that means they have a living wage. What they fail to realize is it's their policies on the back end that are actually causing the wages to not be livable.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So housing prices, I don't know how, this is one thing I fear for you kids, is you guys are not going to be able to afford a house. Like, I'm a millennial. Technically, I don't like claiming that because millennials are freaking weird. Most of the people I know that are millennials, I don't like it.
What are millennials?
Millennials are people born between I think it's 1983 and 1990 or something like that.
Are you a millennial?
Yes, I'm a millennial, technically. I'm like a subclass of millennial.
Why are millennials crazy?
They're not crazy. There's some of them that have very weird takes on life, and it's because they were never challenged. They were never given the guidebook on how to actually live a life. Gen Z, I feel really bad for Gen Z because they're now entering into their early 20s and everything, and they're struggling because our government has destroyed the American dream. Housing prices are way too high. You cannot afford to live on your own. You have to have roommates. What?
What's a Gen Z?
It's the generation after millennials, Olivia. Or no, Mew. They're generations.
Oh, I thought it was actually a name.
No, they're generations. So I'm like a sub-generation. I'm what I like to refer to as a zillennial, which means I have more Gen X thought processes than I do millennial processes, but I grew up. Millennials are the first generation to grow up with access to the internet, access to computers, access to phones, right?
I guess millennials are...
What? Millennials.
Millennials.
Talking to the mic.
Millennials.
What about millennials? Okay, moving on. The problem with that these Democrats have is the simple fact is they keep saying minimum wage needs to go up. Minimum wage needs to go up. It's not minimum wage needs to go up. It's government interference, which is causing fluctuations in the market need to end. That's where the real root of the problem is actually going to come into play. This is I have been debating about going back and getting my doctorate. So I have my master's, right? I have been debating about going back and getting my doctorate. And if I go back and get my doctorate, one of the points that I'm going to get my doctorate in is a doctorate in economics. And I want to focus and do a study on the effects of minimum wage versus the effects of regulations on housing markets, on food productions and stuff like this. It's nuts that people can't correlate that there is a problem stemming upstream versus then the downstream issue of raising minimum wage. Minimum wage theoretically should be zero. You shouldn't be able to negotiate. And our school system is one of the biggest reasons to blame for this, is we no longer teach people how to evaluate themselves. We no longer teach them necessary skills. We teach them a bunch of random crap that they don't necessarily need to know. It used to be back in the day that the way you learned the skills was you did apprenticeships. You learned how to be a blacksmith. You learned how to be a goldsmith. You learned how to do AC. You learned how to do these things by doing an apprenticeship. You get the skills necessary, and then you go off and you start doing your own thing.
What's a goldsmith and a
blacksmith? A blacksmith is just someone that works with metals.
I know
and stuff
what
like
a blacksmith is, but the thing after the goldsmith, what did you say?
I can't hear you.
What did you say after the goldsmith?
AC repairman, plumber.
What is that?
There's a bunch. I think the focus needs to switch back to trades and quit focusing so much on college, because college is not producing the level of people it used to produce. Once the government interfered to start subsidizing all the loans and getting everyone into college, the necessary skills you actually need to do anything have gone far away, which is why there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of jobs out there that no longer care what degree you have or where you got it from. I was remember listening to one podcast who actually hires people, and they were actually talking about how if they have a college applicant, they usually just don't even care. They'd prefer someone that never went to college. So stop doing that. Oh, you're fine. You can do that.
What?
You can do that. That's fine. I thought you were doing something else. You're good.
What did you think I was doing?
Don't worry about it. So the employees at Foster's Freeze went from $16 an hour to $0 an hour thanks to the minimum wage hike, which California declared a win for victories. They're not alone. Scroll down. When this law was signed, 2 large Pizza Hut franchisees laid off more than 1,200 delivery drivers in San Jose. The Wall Street Journal reports that 2 small Vitality Bowl restaurants have cut their workforce in half. And this is the consequence of doing this. Most people don't realize that specifically restaurants run very thin margins. So when you do a 25% increase on labor, those costs have to be offset. So now you're talking increasing the cost of the product or reducing the number of hours that people are allowed to work. So why they think they're helping people out making a livable wage, if you're barely making it by at $16 an hour, you go to $20 an hour, but your hours are cut in half, you've actually lost money. It's no longer a livable wage. This is the problem. The thoughts, the solutions are half thought through solutions that sound good, that make you want to vote for them. What's up?
I think what would be a good idea for that.
Speaking to the mic.
Oh my goodness. I think what would be a good thing for that, and an opportunity, since you say it's bad to cut in half and go to 20 instead of 16 in your normal hours, then put it at 18 and then keep your normal hours.
No, the issue is not mandating costs. The issue is government should not be interfering. And it's not just it's not just on the minimum wage side, it's actually on the upstream side, which is all the regulations on construction. It's all the regulations on food production. There's a bunch of things. There's a bunch of red tape that just need to go away.
Red tape?
Yeah, red tape. Things that you have to cut through in order to get stuff done. So, okay, we can end on this one, guys. I think you got the point. You can see here in the article, right? Oh, put that back up. That, 10 New York posted out Los Angeles area Burger King prices for a Texas double Whopper went from $15.09 on March 29th to $16.89 on April 1st, once the law went into effect. This increase of nearly $2 for the exact same, already horribly overpriced food in just 2 days. The Big Fish meal went up by $4 from $7.49 to $11.49. This is what I'm talking about. They're either going to have to cut hours, which we talked about in the previous paragraph, or they're going to have to raise menu prices. Either way, not good. So, okay, bring us back to the main screen.
I need to tell you something. So, this video was a
Flawless victory. Excellent.
and the present is a
Fatality.
Yeah.
a big one.
Yeah, the Democrat Party is just a, where is my button? Car crash. Okay, take us out with a word from our sponsor, you.
No. With my Amazo candy time.
We have
Not
labels.
Candy time. I wish it was candy time.
We don't make candy, we make candles.
Yeah, but like some of them smell like candy.
Not really. Anyway,
Don't touch them.
how many cents do we have available?
We have 4 cents. This one does not smell like coconut.
It does too.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
But anyway, you saw him. I opened up all of these during the video, and he got distracted by the scents because I smell so good.
You have peach,
Peach,
coconut.
coconut. Let me say them. Lakeside and sea breeze. No, not sea breeze.
Yeah, sea
Yeah,
breeze.
sea breeze, not.
We have labels. I got labels on order. Those should be arriving hopefully this week.
Hopefully Monday.
Yeah.
I have blue, white, and then orange.
Yep. If you're interested in getting a candle, email us at candletime2022@gmail.com.
Or Facebook.
Or find us on Facebook, and then when we get the Instagram and TikTok, you can reach out to us on that as well.
Sorry, Michael.
All right. Say goodbye.
Peace.
Bye, guys. Thank you for watching. Please give us a like, share, and subscribe. Till then, peace.